Hey Changemaker! Welcome to Learning for Good, the only podcast that teaches nonprofit leaders how to leverage training to drive performance, improve capacity, and fuel their mission impact. Do you ever feel like your nonprofit is growing, but your people just aren't keeping up? Or like you're fixing the same problems over and over? Do you wonder how to build confident, capable staff who know how to lead, not just execute? If we haven't met yet, I'm Heather, and I know how hard it can feel to get people to do what's expected of them. Trust me, I have 3 kids. I've tried telling people what to do and how. I've tried the traditional training approaches, and I realized that just doesn't work. And that's when I started researching what does work. Now, I help mission-driven leaders use learning to drive performance, build capacity, and make change that lasts. And I'm sharing it all on this podcast. So block your calendar, turn off your Teams or Slack chat, and let's dive in. It's Learning for Good. I recently got a new phone. I think it was an iPhone 13 before, and probably 2021. It's been a bit. And I just bought an iPhone 17. Now, this was a big decision for me. I knew I was ready for an update. The phone needed to be updated for sure. My old phone didn't really hold charge very long. The magnetic charging function on the back no longer worked at all. So I had some challenges with the phone itself, and I knew it was time. I also knew that the new iPhones had a lot of improved features, like the camera, for example. I spend a lot of time taking pictures of my kids and recording and sharing video on LinkedIn. And so I knew there were things in the new iPhone that I would really benefit from. At the same time, it's a big decision. It's not an inexpensive purchase, right? You're going to pay about $1,000 or so for a phone these days. And it requires time and effort to switch things over. And so it wasn't a decision that I wanted to take lightly. When is the right time to actually make this switch? Now, as a nonprofit learning and development consultant, one of the questions I get asked about training from time to time is, how do we know when it's time to retire a training? And my experience with my phone got me thinking about that question. How do you know when it's time to retire your training? Should you retire it? Because creating something new costs time, effort, and resources. So it's not a right decision, and it should absolutely be a strategic one. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's dive in. It's Learning for Good. Many nonprofits have built a training toolbox. And this training toolbox is built based on years of requests. Every time something gets requested, it gets built, it gets added to the toolbox, right? And then it just lives in your LMS forever and ever. And so when should you retire something? That becomes the question. We have all of these things. Are they even worth it? So let's imagine this. You've got a wrench in your toolbox, right? A request form is completed and they say, you know what? We need customer service training, and it gets built. Does this sound familiar? So the wrench, the customer service training goes into your toolbox. Maybe an email comes in and someone says, you know what? We need a time management training. And so you build it. And so the hammer for the time management training goes into your toolbox. Maybe you bump into someone in the hallway and they say, can you create a workshop to help us run more effective meetings? Like, they're just not going well, and I feel like we could do this better. Can you run a workshop for us? And so you create a workshop, and your screwdriver or your effective meeting workshop goes into your toolbox. Maybe you have a new leader join, and the new leader walks in and says, you know what? this is a little bit challenging. I think we're going to need a workshop on difficult conversations. And so you build a difficult conversations workshop, and that workshop goes into the toolbox. So you end up with a bunch of tools in your toolbox. You have a menu of training options, but you may not have the right tool for the job. Instead of a never-ending menu, you want a curated list of options. But to get there, you might need to retire some of your training. And so I'm going to share 5 questions to consider as you make this decision. The first question: does this training further your mission? So think about where your organization is headed, not just where it's been. Okay? Does this training help you achieve your organization's strategic priorities? If the training were gone tomorrow, would your mission suffer? So you want to make sure that if you're offering something, it's aligned to where your organization is headed and it's going to advance your mission. So if it aligns with your mission and your strategic priorities and removing it would impact your ability to deliver on your mission, well, you're probably going to want to keep it. And if it doesn't do those things, you may want to retire it. So that's my first question. Does it further your mission? The second question is, does it build organizational capacity? So think about the capabilities of your staff. Does it build capabilities that staff are going to use repeatedly? Are they the capabilities they need right now or in the future? Does it strengthen your leadership pipeline? Does it make managers more effective? Does it help your staff help the organization scale? Right? If you're building organizational capacity by developing your leaders, that's a training you might want to keep. So my third question is, does it change behavior? Think about what each training is trying to achieve. Is this still the behavior you need? Is the training effective? Does it actually change performance? Are you seeing results from it? If yes, again, you might want to keep it. It's effective. My next question is, does it increase revenue? The mission doesn't work without money. And in some organizations, training does bring in revenue. So does this particular training bring in revenue? Or does it help other people bring in revenue for the organization? If yes, you might want to keep it. And then my final question, is it still the best solution? Does it still meet the needs of the quote unquote business? Does it meet the needs of the organization? Does it still meet the needs of the audience, the people that you're serving, the people that would be completing the training? Is it still the most efficient or effective way to meet those needs? If yes, it might still be the best solution, and so you might want to keep it. Now, as you go through this process, you should have some things in your keep pile and you should have some things in your retire pile. But it's important that you don't stop here. We actually want to go back through the piles. We want to go back through the training with a different lens. Because there is a chance that you have something that is strategic, but it's not producing results. Or something that produces revenue, but it no longer aligns with your strategic priorities. So you want to go back through this list and look at each training through different perspectives and make a list of where it passes and where it fails. And then you can make decisions based on this fuller picture. So for example, if it's a strategic offer, but it's not producing results, instead of retiring it, you could consider redesigning it or adding some sort of wraparound support to help change behavior. At the end of the day, you don't want to look like a contractor who shows up with a toolbox filled with every tool they've ever owned. That's chaotic and overwhelming. That person doesn't look more professional because they have more tools. They look like they aren't confident they know how to do the job. Instead, I want you to think about the word keep. You want a simply curated toolbox filled with the right tools that keep you moving the mission forward, equip people with lasting capabilities, encourage behavior change, and produce measurable value. That's it for today. I'll see you next time on Learning for Good.
Hey friend, was this episode helpful for you? Did you like what you heard? Do you want more content like this? Here are 3 things you can do. Hit subscribe. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. Share this episode with a colleague. This means so much to me personally. I read every review, but it also helps me learn what content you like most so I can create more of what you want. All right, turn that Teams or Slack chat back on when you're ready, and I'll see you next time on Learning for Good.